project for Jacko-Boxcar. I wanted to add a boxcar to our Halloween train. They're kind of iconic to railroading, you know? Well, a while back, I got this boxcar shell that was missing its doors. Perfect for a Halloween project. My only gripe with this shell was its inconsistent colors in some spots. Some parts were a brighter red than others. So I just got my dad to spray paint over the car. We used the classic Badger Model Flex Dark Tuscan Oxide Red. Now, when I first started this project, I actually wasn't sure what I wanted to put in the boxcar door. Maybe a skeleton? Or a black cat? A silhouette of a wolf could be cool. It didn't take long for me to realize, though, do a silhouette of a skull, make a jack-o'-lantern out of a train. On Friday, the 11th, I ordered a set of LED circuits off of eBay. There were a total of 5 sets, each LED linked to a push-button toggle and a 9-volt battery clip, and I got it for only $12. Not bad, right? Well, yeah, there actually was some bad. I actually didn't get any further motivation to work on the boxcar until the LEDs had arrived. I was hopeful that they would arrive the following Friday, but they didn't. They arrived on Monday, the 21st. Now, for most of my viewer base, this doesn't matter. The video's coming out on Monday one way or another. However, hello channel members, who all happen to get early access to these videos. Sorry this one's 2 days late. I wanted it done on Sunday, but the shipping time was a bottleneck. I know you all are chill, but still, sorry. I really should have planned this a little better. Interestingly enough, having to wait gave me the time to come up with a slightly better idea for this boxcar. You see, I wasn't really planning on doing anything special other than adding the silhouette into the interior of the car, but somebody mentioned on the tank car from earlier that not having a handbrake was something that could be spun as a horror for railroaders. Liam, you are absolutely right, and I love this plan, but I think we can take it a step further and make it a bit of a modeler's abomination. What if we added something based on reality, but without the actual logic behind how it's supposed to be set up? When the LEDs arrived, I did a quick test to make sure they worked fine. They did, so I got to work. I had some styrene laying around from when I had previously worked on the Little Loop Railroad. The strips were pretty small, coming in at 0.03 by 0.1 inches. You see, I thought it would be fun to make a fake double-sheathed boxcar, or as some of you might know it, an outside braced boxcar. I say fake because I planned to not add the external bracing in all the appropriate places. I just wanted to add some weird, funky texture. I cut the strips to the height of the boxcar, which was about 1 9/16 inches. Oddly specific, I know. In total, there were 6 strips per side, or about 12 strips total. However, 1 strip per side had to deal with the door... a guide channel? That's what a quick Google search said this was. Anyways, 2 strips, 1 for each side, had to be about 1/8 of an inch shorter than the rest to fit around that door slidey component thingy. I am a professional train guy, not a professional door guy. With all the pieces cut, I started hand painting them. I quickly realized how futile that was and asked my dad for some help with spray painting. He agreed, but he asked me to wait about half an hour. This gave me some time to prepare a couple more fake brace pieces that we could spray paint later. I decided to make them angled. What angle, you ask? Good question. I have no clue, and I did not bother to measure. In fact, I know most of them aren't the same. Some pieces are clearly different lengths and angles than others. But hey, that's perfect for this project, right? It turns this into even more of a modeler's abomination. I'm actively choosing not to make it look real. The extra bracing should cover the whole car, but like heck I'm doing that. I'm being quick and lazy. I'm behind schedule on this video. Once my dad was ready, we started with a coat of primer. Styrene is just plastic, and it doesn't really paint all that well on its own, so the primer helped the second coat, the actual coat of paint, stick later. As we waited for the primer to dry, we swapped colors in the airbrush to Badger Model Flex Weathered Black. It's really more of a dark gray than a black. We sprayed the roof of the car, no primer necessary since it had already been painted before, and once the primer on the strips had dried, we sprayed them too. Now comes the fun part: assembling this terrible outside bracing. It really wasn't that hard. All I did was use some CA superglue. Sometimes the glue got stuck on my fingers and it would pull off the paint when I removed my hand, but that was easy enough to touch up after the glue had set. It didn't take me long to finish this step, and I was soon considering the interior setup. And I realized something. The silhouette would work best if it was only viewable from one side. Now, one thing I actually did before recording, and completely failed to mention, was that I removed the shoddy doors that this car originally had. There were just 2 sheets of scribed wood blocking the doorways. I thought I wouldn't want them, but ironically, they're perfect for what I need right now. So I wound up re-gluing one of these quote-unquote doors back in place. With the door back in service, the LED itself was ready for a test fit, and oh boy was it a pain to get into a proper position. Getting the battery to fit without blocking anything, getting the push button to an easy access point, and getting the LED angled right to light up the open doorway took some work, but I got a suitable mock-up done. This wasn't permanent, but it was a good start. For the silhouette, I printed out the H&CR logo on cardstock. I printed the logo in 3 separate sizes just so I had some options to choose from. I went with the medium option and cut it out with a hobby knife. Now, there's a surprising amount of detail to the Railroad's logo, which I couldn't really cut well at this scale, but really, all I needed was a face. Once cut, I did a quick test to make sure it looked alright. With the test looking good, we could get everything in place, but first, I painted the visible side of the cutout black. With how I'm setting this all up, it will be visible, but I at least want to try and disguise it. While the paint dried, I glued in the other old door, but this time I glued it on the inside of the car, angled slightly like an open door. Now, I know boxcars don't do this. This is just so the projection will display correctly. But it is kind of funny to imagine a swing door, and that does play into the Modeler's Abomination theme. With the cutout in place, I angled the LED to best light up the silhouette. It was easy enough to do, but getting the LED to hold that angle was hard. I wound up cutting another little bit of styrene and superglued it to the LED, the wall, and the floor of the car. Now, this was a little scary to do, since I had to make sure the LED was in the right position as the glue dried, but I was able to do it first try. Last, but certainly not least, was to add the underframe and some trucks. I, borrowed them from a car that I wasn't using. And with that, our journey comes to a close. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It is the perfect final addition to this year's Halloween setup. A Franken Jacko-Boxcar. Goodness, what a tongue twister. While I do wish that I had spent more time trying to set up the silhouette so it's less angled, I kinda love the wonky look to it. It's got some serious charm, and I love the little bit of animation the flickering light adds to this whole train. Does it look stupid? A little. Did I have fun? Absolutely. That's all for this project, but I have one more video coming out later this week. I have to set up the display after all, so I guess we'll have a little Halloween special. See you then. Cheers, folks.